Presiding Officer, fellow culture ministers, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, may I extend the warmest of welcomes from the Government and people of Scotland to the Edinburgh International Culture Summit 2012.
The National Youth Girls Choir of Scotland, performing in the debating chamber of the Scottish Parliament in front of arts ministers from around the world, who have gathered for the first Edinburgh International Culture Summit.
Can I begin by saying thank you to everyone who's made this amazing Culture Summit happen over the next 2 days. Jonathan Mills from the Edinburgh International Festival, who I think had a vision based
All the ministers and delegates to whom I spoke saw arts and culture as a way to express the true character of a country.
It's quite clear that Jonathan Mills' argument that culture is separate from politics is belied by the entirety of the discussions that have taken place inside this building.
Music, culture, the arts helps us build trust. Trust and understanding are the foundations for relationships between people and nations. They have the power to move and motivate, and that is what we invite you to discuss.
This is about politics, 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 culture, 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 and the soup, the mix of the two, is what everybody inside this building assumes. It's the air they breathe, yet it's denied when Jonathan Mills steps over the threshold from inside to outside. Inside it's political, cultural, outside, culture and politics don't mix, darling.
There is nothing new in the concept of cultural diplomacy, but the language has changed.
Increasingly, we see culture as a major factor of political, social and economic development.
When the British Council was set up in 1934, it said it was there to influence through cultural propaganda.
And as James Kelman said in a talk in Word Power 2 nights ago in the Radical Book Fringe, he said the British Council is the cultural wing of the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. This is about culture in the service of realpolitik.
In a globalised world, if you want to succeed, you have to put culture front and centre of what you do.
So I see this occasion as one where we can see ourselves as others see us and can learn from each other. Your experience, your vision, our dialogue, our debate.
I said, save me a seat on a bus that's heaven bound.
Soft power is the ability to get what you want through attraction and persuasion, and that means you have less need to use coercion or payment.
I'm so tired of working, I'm ready for heaven now.
But it's also worth remembering, it's not always nicer to twist people's minds than to twist their arms.
This is about states, how they operate, how they project soft power, and Jonathan Mills is being extremely disingenuous when he insists on a separation between culture and politics.
Some of you will have experience of culture at times of conflict and resolution. We need to learn what that means for artists and governments.
I think that you're likely to see an increase in budgets for cultural diplomacy because I think the realization is that in an information age, it's not just a matter of whose army wins, but whose story wins.
Brand Israel is an official Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs project, openly discussed in Israel. It was launched very shortly after, and the timing cannot be an accident, the Palestinian civil society appealed for boycott, divestment and sanctions, and the aim of it is very simply to change the subject away from the general image of Israel as war, aggression, racism, apartheid, sectarian religious madness, and to talk about the positive things about Israel. Batsheva is a part of Brand Israel, organised by the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs to critify what Israel does. This is the politics of culture. This is about states, how they operate, how they project soft power. It's a political event, and the fact that Batsheva are coming to perform here in a couple of weeks' time with an Israeli minister very possibly in attendance at the venue is merely an illustration of that. And we invite supporters of Palestinian human rights to come there, to join the demonstrations outside.